Welcome into the Commanders Report live show. I am your host, Jack Sperry. Thank you to all the real ones stopping by at the beginning of today's live program. We got a bunch of great Commanders content coming your way here over the next hour or so. First up on today's show, the latest Commanders news and rumors. We got some trade rumors to discuss today, the latest injury news from head coach Dan Quinn. Lots to discuss today on our first segment. Then we'll get into our hold segment here where we take a bunch of Commanders players and I tell you whether to buy, sell, or hold stock in that player as we approach week 2 of the 2024 NFL season. Then you guys have your opportunity to get your questions on this week's mailbag. Of course, you guys have to put hashtag Commanders or Super Chat down there in the chat right now. Get your questions in. The way that it works is you go down there in the live chat. You put hashtag Commanders, will Jayden Daniels win Offensive Rookie of the Year, right? You put hashtag Commanders and your question, and we can get to your question on today's mailbag. So if you got something that you want me to answer today, if there's a question that's on your mind, you want to get an answer from me, this is your chance to have your voice heard on the show. So make sure you get that going for us right now down there in the comment section. With that, let's bring in our producer today, Mr. Joey Peterson. And Joey was our host for our watch party for week 1. Joey did a great job, my friend. Welcome back to the show, Mr. Joey, our producer.
Man, I'm happy to be here. Happy to be hanging out with all the real ones. We got 62 people watching, 12 likes. It's a beautiful Wednesday. Let's get going, baby.
Let's get it going, baby. So, Joey, obviously, week 1 didn't go the way that Commanders fans were hoping. I think I was hoping we'd be a little bit more buttoned up than what they showed on Sunday. I thought he showed some good things. Jayden Daniels certainly showed the potential and the flashes and all the things that you want to see from a guy with his talent level, but you also want to see him rip it down the field a little bit more. Like, he was taking checkdowns. He was passing up receivers down the field to run, and he wasn't sliding enough either. So then the defense. I mean, don't even get me started on the defense. It was just an absolute shit show from everybody, including my guy, Mikey Sainristil. I mean, there's busted coverages everywhere, people not on the same page. And that's a coaching issue, right? So I'm hoping that moving forward, this team gets better. Obviously, the coaching needs to be really good for this team to have any kind of success because I think this roster is limited talent-wise. But, it's going to be interesting to see how this week goes because I think this week against the New York Giants, it's a terrible football team. You're at home. If you lose this game, it feels like the season is over.
Yeah, and you hate to see that after week 2, and you hate to say that after week 2. But this is a really bad football team, and this is a team that you're kind of thankful that your rookie quarterback has the opportunity to play in week 2. So I'm excited to see Jayden Daniels again. We saw all that he could do with his legs. We knew what he could do before, but to see it in the NFL was exciting. But like you said, I want to see him rip it down the field a little bit more.
100%. Before we get into our Commanders content today, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Game Time, which is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. And folks, we all know that experiencing a sporting event, especially a football game, live is unlike anything you can get from watching the game on your couch, whether that's pro football, college football, whatever the case may be. And Game Time actually has a brand new feature on their app called Game Time Picks. It's absolutely awesome. Here's how it works. It filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't waste time searching through thousands of tickets. So all you got to do is boot up the Game Time app. You find an event you want to go to. You select the Game Time Picks filter, and Game Time automatically puts their entire database of tickets for that game into a special algorithm to only show you the best possible prices on the best possible seats, and they show you the best deals and the best deals only. So you don't even have to do your own research here. Game Time Picks already does it for you. You don't have to go have a bunch of ticketing apps on your phone. All you have to have is Game Time on your phone. You get into the app, you select Game Time Picks, and it shows you the best tickets at the best prices at the lowest price guarantee, which is another fantastic feature from our friends at Game Time. And then also, not only do you have the lowest price guarantee, they have all-in pricing on their app, so you don't get slapped with crazy fees at checkout, and then you get flash deals so you can get even cheaper tickets the closer you wait to the start of your event. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS down there in the bottom of your screen right now for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. What time? Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Okay, now let's get to our donation menu today. You guys certainly don't have to donate money to the show, but we greatly appreciate all of you who do. Any super chat or donation, whatever the case may be, you're going to get some love on the show. We'll give you guys a shout out. We'll tell the other people in the chat to spam your name, all that great stuff. $5, you get your name on the F the Cowboys hat that we have here, so you guys can get your name on that. $10, we'll do some shots for you guys. $20, I'll slap Joey with a tortilla or vice versa. It's up to you guys. And then $50 total on the show, and you get to join Hog Mafia. Now, if you're a Hog Mafia member, you get a donation sticker next to your donations for life, and then you get a shout out on every single Commanders Report live show. So we do have some Hog Mafia members that I want to give a big shout out today. And then we've got IQ Barbecue, Marco Gorman, Omar's Burner, Lord Buddy Bear, Luke O'Gorman, TJ, Commander Mike, James Howard. We actually had a new one in the watch party that we haven't gotten to with the graphics yet. Russell Hantz. Russell Hantz is what Joey tells me from Survivor was in the chat on Sunday. So if you guys watch the show Survivor, you know who Russell Hantz is. He is also a part of Hog Mafia. Okay, now, so make sure you guys get down there right now, like the video, and also click that subscribe button. If you want to join Hog Mafia, it's just $50 to join for life. It's a lifetime membership. And if you guys want to send a Venmo or Cashapp or PayPal, we do appreciate these avenues more than Super Chat, because Super Chat here on YouTube takes 30% of every single dollar that you spend. So if you go via Super Chat, you spend $10, YouTube and Google is going to take 30% of that money, and we get 70% of it, all right? So if you want us to keep more of the proceeds, you guys want us to keep more of your donation dollars, you can find me at Jack-Sperry on Venmo, # Captain Jack 19 on Cash App, or at Captain Jack Rabbit on PayPal. Really do appreciate your guys' support. Doesn't mean you guys shouldn't put in Super Chats or anything like that. By all means, send in Super Chats. But if you have a Venmo, a Cash App, or a PayPal account and you want to send in money, we do get to keep more of those proceeds if you send it via those channels. So make sure you guys type me in the chat right now. We're going to see who is in the chat right now. Type me in the chat for a shout out if you've liked today's show. Big shout out to Eugene, Jalen's dad, Gerald P, Diddy Destroyer is in here. We've got Ian. We've got Jeremy Dobbins. I love Diddy Destroyer, man. That's an awesome name. We got Jasmine Gray in here. We got my girlfriend Cassie Voth. Everyone say hi to Cassie in the chat. She is our mod today, keeping all the bots out of the chat. We got Edward in here. We got Kenny Strasser. What's up, Kenny? We got Greg. We got Richard Barker in here. We've got RTS with Oscar Montel. Jalen's dad again. Got a bunch of great people in the chat, man. We got almost 100 people watching. 25 people have liked the show. So this is what I'll say. Need to get to at least 30 likes to get into the show today. So we still need 4 more likes. I see Ian down there. I see Bradley Campbell. I see Jalen's dad. I see Eugene. I see Jasmine. I see John Dunn in here. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button and click that thumbs up icon, because we go live every single Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're here, thank you guys so much for supporting our channel. Again, guys, if you want to send in a donation and you don't want to do it via Super Chat, you can find us here, Venmo at Jack-Sperry, Cash App, # Captain Jack 19, or at Captain Jack Rabbit on PayPal. If you're watching us on mobile right now, you can send us, or you can do a screenshot right now, so you guys always know, and you guys always have these at your disposal if you ever feel like you want to send in a donation. Okay, Joey Peterson, let's get into this first segment, the latest news and rumors surrounding the Washington Commanders. Today on the Commanders, we have the latest injury updates heading into this Week 2 matchup versus the New York Giants here for the Washington Commanders. Then speaking of the Commanders here, we got some new Commanders trade rumors centered around former first-round pick cornerback Emmanuel Forbes and some potential replacements at the cornerback position for Washington to consider before the trade deadline this year. But before we get into the Commanders content today, I do want to say that I just want to say big thank you and to all of our active duty service member, all the people with military family out there. Today is September 11th, and of course this is a big day in our nation here, the best nation in the world, the United States of America. And today really shows, not only is it a day of remembrance and it's a day of honoring those that passed away on that awful day. But it's also a sign that here in America, this people and this nation will not be separated no matter what, and we will rise up stronger than any adversity that comes up. So spam those USAs right now to show your national pride right now. And I really do appreciate all of your guys' support. So let's get into the Commanders content here. And we've got some injury updates here from head coach Dan Quinn today. Noah Brown, wide receiver, recently signed receiver for the Washington Commanders. He was out in week 1 with a shoulder injury. Dan Quinn says he's on the right track. And speaking of people on the right track, rookie out of Illinois, defensive tackle Jerzon Newton, who's dealing with a foot issue, is also on the right track to play in week 2. Coach Quinn didn't give any guarantees that these guys would be playing here this week, but he definitely left the door open, and Lord knows we could have these 2 players on the field in week 2 and beyond here for the Burgundy and Gold. We also got an injury update on Emmanuel Forbes, who really had a tough day in week 1 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's going to be wearing a wrist splint in week 2 versus the Giants, so it's going to be interesting to see if he's still listed as a starter this week. He's going to be going up against guys like Malik Neighbors, Jalen Hyatt, Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson. So I'm really hoping that Emmanuel Forbes is ready to go. And, if last week was any indication, he certainly wasn't. So now that he's wearing a wrist splint, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. If I was Coach Quinn, I wouldn't trust Emmanuel Forbes as far as I could throw him right now, all 180 pounds of him. And, I just don't think that he should start. I would trust Benjamin St-Juste, and I would trust Michael Davis. I would trust Noah Igbinoghene more than I would trust Emmanuel Forbes at this point. I hope he proves me wrong and goes out there and balls out and has a great game in week 2 if he does, in fact, play. But right now, if I'm Coach Quinn, I'm not rolling with Emmanuel Forbes. And now, speaking of Emmanuel Forbes, Bleacher Report came out with an article today, and they listed Emmanuel Forbes as a top 10 NFL trade candidate after week 1. This article was written by Mr. Christopher Knox of Bleacher Report, and this is what he had to say in his article today about the former first-round pick. This season was supposed to bring the 23-year-old a fresh opportunity, but it doesn't feel as if Washington's new regime truly believes in him. After being called for 2 penalties on the same play in week 1, Forbes was pulled from the lineup twice. At this point, it might be best for the Commanders to find another starting corner and see what they can get for Forbes in a trade, although his health could complicate matters. A few teams might be willing to take a flyer on the young Mississippi State product, who did flash a lot of playmaking potential in college. Now, if I'm Adam Peters, and if there's a team that would be willing to take Emmanuel Forbes with the film that he has put out in the National Football League to this point, I am taking that. I don't care if it's a conditional 7th-round pick. I don't care if it's a pick swap between a 6th and a 7th-round pick. If I can unload Emmanuel Forbes and I can get any sort of upgrade in the 2025 NFL Draft, I am absolutely taking it. Now, in terms of which teams Forbes could be traded to, these are the 2 teams that Christopher Knox pointed out. First one, the Cleveland Browns. The Browns might be a logical suitor given their willingness to take chances on former high draft picks who haven't panned out elsewhere. They added Kadarius Toney to their practice squad earlier this week. Another team that they mentioned as a potential suitor is the Los Angeles Chargers here. The Los Angeles Chargers, who are rebuilding under new head coach Jim Harbaugh, might also be willing to kick the tires on Forbes. Harbaugh presumably wants to build a dynamic defense in LA, and his team doesn't currently boast a surplus of cornerback depth. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comment section. Would you trade Emmanuel Forbes if someone offered you a 6th-round pick in exchange for him? Give me a yes or a no for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds, and when that happens, go find that pinned comment at the top of the comment section and give me a yes or a no. Coming up here on the Commanders Report, we got 4 Emmanuel Forbes replacements, whether that be free agency, whether that be trade. I've got 4 options for you guys coming right up here on the Commanders Report. But before we get into that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Game Time, which is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. And guys, we all know that experiencing a sporting event, especially a football game live, whether it's pro or college, is unlike anything you can get from watching the game on your couch. couch. And lucky for you guys, Game Time has a brand new feature called Game Time Picks on their app, which filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And it's super easy to use. You just go into the Game Time app, you find a game that you want to go see, and then you select the Game Time Picks filter on there. And what it does is that Game Time puts all of the tickets in their database for that particular game or event into a special algorithm to show you the best possible deals available on their platform. You don't have to do the research yourself. You don't have to research on a bunch of different ticketing apps. Game Time has the lowest price guarantee on any ticket to any event, and you can get even the better deals here by using Game Time Picks, which is absolutely unbelievable. You can also get all-in pricing so you don't get slapped with crazy fees at checkout, which is really convenient because I hate it when they slap a $70 fee at the end of the experience and they think that they have the lowest price when they don't. And then you also get flash deals on Game Time. So what that means is that if you're a procrastinator like myself and you wait to get your tickets last minute, Game Time actually rewards you for that by driving their already lowest price guaranteed tickets downwards, so you get even better ticket prices the longer you wait to the start of your event. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. So some potential cornerback trade targets that Bleacher Report listed in that same article where they listed Emmanuel Forbes as a trade candidate was Jonathan Jones from the New England Patriots, their current number 2 cornerback, opposite of Christian Gonzalez, who should be the person they took instead of Emmanuel Forbes here in Washington, but I digress. And then Kaiir Elam, a former Florida Gator there who's known for press man coverage and is a good fit for this Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. scheme. Now, I don't think Jonathan Jones is going to be on the trade block, at least not yet. You know, the Patriots started their season 1-0 with a big surprise, upset victory over Cincinnati. I think that they really want to lean into their defense this year, and they might try to see if they can win some games here before the trade deadline. But if Drake May goes in there and, they're struggling on offense and they're losing football games and they're selling at the deadline, I do think Jonathan Jones is a name to be keeping your eye on. But let's shift over to Kaiir Elam here because he's more of a depth piece for Buffalo right now, and I do think he'd be more likely to be dealt in a trade right now if the Commanders wanted to go get him. This is what Christopher Knox had to say about Elam and why he may be available. Elam appeared in 13 games as a rookie, but only played in 3 games last season. It doesn't appear as if he's headed towards an expanded role in 2024. Acquiring Elam would be a bet on upside given his limited resume. And then specifically, his fit with the Commanders here, Christopher says the Commanders might also want to take a look at Elam given Forbes' lack of development and the team's ongoing issues in pass defense. Washington allowed the most passing yards in the league last season and surrendered 280 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns in week 1. So let me know down there in the comments section, would you make this trade right here? Okay, would you bring in Kaiir Elam and a 2025 7th-round pick in exchange for a 6th-rounder in 2025? Give me an A for accept or type D for decline. Let me know what you guys are thinking down there in the comments section. For me personally, I'm definitely considering it if I can make this happen. But, let's go outside Bleacher Report's article here, and I think there's 2 other names that the Commanders should consider at this point in the process if they do want to replace Emmanuel Forbes. And the first name to consider is one you don't have to trade for, and that's Xavier Howard, former number 1 corner for the Miami Dolphins. And I think the reason why Howard hasn't been as productive in recent seasons there in Miami is because they've been trying to run a Vic Fangio style of defense where the corners play off. It's a lot of man-match coverage, where Xavier Howard is traditionally more of an in-your-face press man corner. That's what he did in Brian Flores' defense when he was there. He was their true number 1 outside lockdown press corner, and he was awesome at that. And he was also injured last year, so that's why the dip in production happened. Now, there is some rumors that he's not the best locker room guy in the world, and maybe, that's the reason why the Commanders haven't brought him in. But he is somebody with a ton of experience in a press man role, especially that number 1 press man corner role, and that's what he would be filling if he were to come here to the Washington Commanders. Now, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon here before I reveal the last cornerback trade target for the Commanders today. If you want to add a cornerback and you want to replace Emmanuel Forbes as the number 1 CB on this football team, give me a like down there right now to help out today's video. the final name to consider here is kind of a bigger name here, probably the biggest name we've talked about today, Marshon Lattimore from the New Orleans Saints. Now, Lattimore was a trade target during the offseason. It was known that the Saints were entertaining potential trade opportunities for Lattimore, but I'm not sure anybody was really willing to cough up the necessary trade capital. The Saints like some of their younger corners that they brought in this year. They finally have some depth at that position. So I do think they'd be willing to let him go for the right price. But keep in mind, if you go out and get Lattimore instead of a Xavier Howard, who is a free agent, or a Kaiir Elam, who's probably only like a day 3 pick kind of guy, you'd probably have to give up more of like a day 2 pick, whether a second or third round pick, to get Marshon Lattimore in a trade. He is a true number 1 if you end up going and getting him. He is an awesome press man corner. He would be a fantastic fit here in Washington. So if the Commanders are truly trying to win this season and Marshon Lattimore is gettable for a decent draft pick, I would certainly consider going out and getting him and giving him a new contract. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Add a cornerback here. And if you don't want any of them, just type none in the comments section. But if you want Jonathan Jones, type JJ. If you want Kaiir Elam, go KE. If you want Xavier Howard, type XH. And if you want Marshon Lattimore and you want to give up a third-round pick or something for him, type ML down there in the comments section. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already, because we've got in-depth Commanders coverage like this every single day right here on YouTube. So without further ado, guys, raise some hail, and I'll see you guys next time. All right, first segment in the books here, Mr. Joey. Coming up next, we do have buy, sell, or hold for the Washington Commanders, and we still have our mailbag coming up later. So if you guys want to get on the Q&A today, hashtag Commanders, along with your question in the chat. So, Joey, all these guys have to do is you go down there in the live chat, you put hashtag Commanders. Will Emmanuel Forbes get traded this year? And if you put that question in there, I'll answer it on the mailbag today. So if you have a question, if you have a comment, if you have a trade idea, if you have a trade target that we didn't discuss in that previous video, lay it on me down there in the comments section, and we'll talk about it on the Q&A today. I want to give a shout out to the people in the chat. So Joey, give some shout outs while I drink some water here, because I am thirsty.
What's going on, everybody? We got John Dunn, we got Richard Barker, Logan Murillo, Jeremy Dobbins, Gerald P., Todd, Bradley Campbell, Jalen's dad's rocking with us, Greg Barlonga, Edward Van Beek, Fallon and David Brown, King Dwanales, Jasmine Gray, like she always is, rocking with us, Logan Murillo, Gerald P., John Dunn, Eugene's here, Timothy Swindell's here, Todd J. is here. We got all the real ones rocking with us. So, guys, if you guys want to get on the show, just like Greg just did right there, you got to do hashtag Commanders, except you got to follow it up with a question if you want a chance to get on the Commanders Report live bag or mailbag.
All right, the live bag. I like that.
Live mailbag.
All right, man. So if you guys are just joining us here, we got 108 people watching. Our donation menu today, any super chat, you guys know you're going to get some love on today's show. We'll give you guys a shout out. All that great stuff. $5 gets you on the F the Cowboys hat. $10 we'll do some shots for you guys. $20 I'll slap Joey with the tortilla, or he can slap me, either one. And then $50 you get to join Hog Mafia. And we do prefer Venmo, Cashapp, and PayPal as opposed to Super Chats, just so you guys know. Just because YouTube takes 30% of every dollar you donate via Super Chats, whereas with Venmo, Cashapp, and PayPal, we get to keep more of that money, so you guys can send it to @Jack-Sperry, # Captain Jack 19, or at Captain Jackrabbit on PayPal if you'd be so kind. Okay, man, so coming up next, we already got through the Commanders news and rumors. Next up, buy, sell, or hold for the Washington Commanders. We're going to be talking about a number of Commanders players today. And I'm going to tell you whether to buy, sell, or hold stock in that player. So without further ado, Joey, we ready to get things going here with our second segment?
Let's do it. You want me to come on?
Yeah. Yeah, just say buy, sell, or hold, Jayden Daniels, whatever. Okay, let's get into it right now. Buy, sell, or hold for the Washington Commanders. Welcome into the Commanders Report. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today we're going to be doing a buy, sell, or hold segment here. I haven't done one for a while here on the Commanders Report, but after week one, I want to go through a bunch of different Commanders players today, and I want to tell you whether I'm buying, selling, or holding stock in those players based on what we saw from them in week one heading into week two versus the New York Giants. Now, before we get into that today, make sure you guys like the video here to help us win our like battle against the Dallas Cowboys Report here at Chat Sports. The Cowboys Report is one of our biggest channels here at Chat Sports. In fact, it's our second biggest channel in the company. The only one that's bigger is the main Chat Sports account. So Cowboys Report is a behemoth. They put up 622 likes on their video yesterday. But you know what? I think we can get 623 on today's video. So put Tom Downey in his freaking place right now. Show that the Commanders fans are not to be messed around with here. And click that thumbs up icon right now to get us a victory over the Cowgirls today. All right, now let's start here. Joey, what's the first player we got?
First one we got up, Maverick. Buy, sell, or hold, Jayden Daniels.
Man, I love me some Jayden Daniels. Man, I love his talent. I love the demeanor that he comes to work with every day. I love his work ethic and what he brings to the table as a leader for this franchise. Obviously, in week one, there were some bumps, all right? You know, he was too reliant on his legs, in my opinion. He wasn't letting it rip down the field, not enough downfield passes. But you know what? The price on his stock is lower than ever after that week one performance. So I'm going to be buying it up because I think that this guy's a future superstar in this league. And because people are starting to be like, oh, week one, he wasn't playing all that well. I'm buying even more stock in him right now because I do believe in his future, all right? Like I've said throughout the offseason, it's not going to be perfect. I do not think this kid is going to be C.J. Stroud and light up the world in week one. All right, but he showed his ability to run with the football, and what that does and what that allows for him to do is it lowers the bar for him as a passer. I think that he's going to get there eventually as a passer throughout the course of this season. We're going to see some really good games from Jayden Daniels this year, and heading into year two, I think we're going to have a lot of optimism about this kid becoming a future superstar and a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League here for the Commanders. So let me know down there in the comments section, confidence level in Jayden Daniels after that week one performance. Put it on a scale of 1 to 10 for me. This will be the pinned comment on today's show, so YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when that happens, take advantage of that time by giving me a number between 1 and 10. So now let's talk about, Joey, actually, I think you brought this up.
Yeah, what about Terry McLaurin?
So Terry McLaurin, this one's an interesting one because 4 targets, 2 receptions, 17 yards in week one. And that's obviously not what you want to see if you are a Washington Commanders fan. And I understand why some people might be a little bit nervous about Terry McLaurin. And, maybe this is another year where Jayden Daniels is not a good quarterback and it's another year of poor quarterback play for Scary Terry. But I'm going to say hold on this one, man. Like, I'm probably leaning more towards buy just because, people are just just panicking about this 2-catch game in week one. Jayden Daniels is eventually going to get there, especially this weekend against the New York Giants, a pretty bad secondary. I think Terry's going to have opportunities to make some big plays. I think a week from today, we're going to be looking at Terry McLaurin. We're going to be, we were completely overreacting about him. I will say hold, though, because, we still have to see Jayden Daniels play at that high level and target him effectively and more often. 4 targets is just not enough for a guy like Terry McLaurin, especially when the rest of the wide receiver room isn't necessarily up to his level. So I'll say hold right now, but I'm definitely leaning more towards buy. So coming up here on the Commanders Report, more scenarios, more players to discuss, and whether I'm buying, selling, or holding stock in those players. But before we get into that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Prize Picks, which is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. And unlike other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you have to do is pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. That is, if you know ball. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become a part of the Prize Picks community today. Just 1 Caleb Williams passing yard gets you 1 win on Prize Picks every week in the month of September. That's right, just 1 yard from Caleb Williams gets you an automatic win every football weekend this month. That means 4 weeks of free W's. Don't miss this deal on Prize Picks because it's gone the second September ends and you've already missed out on week 1, so don't miss out anymore. Also, Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. And when my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. So here is my projection for this week in the National Football League. I'm going to take the easy money here. I'm going to take the more on the half yard there for Caleb Williams because he's going to get more than 1 passing yard. And then I'm going to take the less on Daniel Jones passing yards. I just don't think he's going to have a very effective week this week. just because I don't think he's any good. Then I'm going to take the more on Terry McLaurin receiving yards. We've already talked about Scary Terry in this game. I think he's going to have a really good one after having a really slow start to his season in week 1. So if you guys want to get your projections in right now, you can download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS. That's CLNS and get $50 instantly when you just play $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. So Prize Picks, run your game.
Buy, sell, or hold Austin Ekeler.
So Austin Ekeler here is an interesting one here because if you guys have been watching the show since this team signed Austin Ekeler back in free agency, I've always been a bit skeptical, all right, because he did lose a step a little bit last year in Los Angeles, but he was dealing with injuries and he was dealing with a very bad team in the Chargers. I thought he played really good in that week 1 game against Tampa Bay, had a couple of dynamic plays. Looked like, his short-term quickness and, his jump cut ability was back. And he looked like he was pretty electric. So I liked what I saw from Austin Ekeler, and I am buying stock for the first time in Ekeler pretty much since the Commanders signed him. I thought he was going to be kind of like an aging veteran. We all know how these running backs tend to decline when they're Austin's age. But honestly, I thought he looked better in week 1 than he did at any point during the 2023 season in LA. So I'm very excited to see what he's going to do this year in burgundy and gold.
Buy, sell, or hold Mikey Sainristil.
So, Joey, we know that Mikey didn't play all that well in week 1. He had some busted coverages. He gave up some touchdowns, and I've been gassing this guy up all offseason. So he made me look bad, but because I said he was ready to go. I said he was pro-ready. I said that he was going to be such a good player. But you know what? I still believe that, and that's why I'm holding my stock in Mikey Sainristil right now. Now, is there a chance that he ends up just being a complete bust and terrible? Sure, I guess that's a possibility, but I think that it was a lot of just rookie nerves. It was a lot of, I'm so excited for my first NFL game, and he's going to figure it out, all right? I believe in Joe Witt Jr. I believe in Dan Quinn as teachers to get this guy where he needs to go, and he plays with such good instincts. And he's shown a lot of good things throughout training camp, preseason, and even showed some good things in that week 1 matchup that makes me think he's going to be a veteran, longtime pro for the Washington Commanders in the slot moving forward. So before we get into the rest of the players on today's show, make sure you guys click that subscribe button because we got breaking news coverage every time the Commanders make a move, every time they make a trade, a signing, injury updates come up. We got breaking news coverage for you guys. We got weekly live shows every single Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern time to get you guys caught up on everything surrounding the burgundy and gold. And oh yeah, it's all 100% free. So help us get to 20,000 subscribers. We're over 18,000 strong right now. So help us get to 20K right now by clicking that subscribe button.
Buy, sell, or hold Emmanuel Forbes.
Emmanuel Forbes, man, if you've been watching any of the content this week, you probably know my answer on this one. I am selling stock in Emmanuel Forbes. I was willing to give him a shot heading into this season. Obviously, this front office was banking a lot on this guy developing into a number 1 corner this offseason, and he got toasted in the training camp, joint practices against New York. He got toasted in the preseason games. And was anybody surprised when he got toasted in week 1 against Tampa Bay? I certainly wasn't. He had penalties. He had coverage busts. He wasn't sticking with guys in one-on-one coverage. He's just so easy to fool, man. A head fake from any decent NFL receiver just gets this guy lost in man coverage. And then to top it all off, his 180-pound frame isn't able to tackle anybody. So I'm definitely selling my stock in Emmanuel Forbes. And if I am GM Adam Peters, if there's any sucker out there in the NFL willing to take this guy for like a 6th round, 7th round pick swap, I'm taking that right now, and I'm sending Emmanuel Forbes away.
Going away from the players, offensive coordinator Kliff Kingsbury, buy, sell, or hold?
So right now, it's way too early to determine what Kliff is going to be, what his offense is going to be. I saw some good things on film schematically here that the team just needs to execute better. Now, you guys know I'm not the biggest fan in the world in Kliff Kingsbury. I'm not sure if he's the best at making adjustments. I do think his scheme is a little bit bland, especially for the NFL level. Doesn't use a ton of pre-snap motion. And I'm hoping that he has evolved as a play caller since he was last calling plays for the Arizona Cardinals. Saw some good things, but saw a lot of the same old bland kind of Kliff Kingsbury stuff in week 1 as well. So here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to hold my stock in Kliff Kingsbury because I'm going to give him at least a quarter of a season before I start judging his offense and judging what this team looks like. Obviously, Tampa Bay has a pretty darn good defense. They got a really good defensive head coach in Todd Bowles. Got some really nice players on that defense. And obviously the Commanders have a rookie quarterback. They're still getting their feet wet, all that stuff, right? So I do think I want to give Kliff Kingsbury some time before I completely condemn him because I want to see how this offense kind of grows as the season goes on. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today's show. I really do appreciate all of you guys for stopping by today. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now for more extensive Commanders coverage all throughout the 2024 season. All right, Joey, second segment done. How many questions have we gotten to today?
Let me check. I saw a good bit of them flood in, honestly, during
Yeah, honestly, I think that we've gotten some good ones.
Let me look. Okay.
I know I've seen quite a few of them. We got RTS in there, getting a question in. That's a good one. Let's put that one in the mailbag, Joey. We got John Dunn, Jasmine Gray, the Dark Gemini, JG Eugene, King Dunley, John Stoyef?
Merle Garrett asked a good one, too.
Mojo, Eugene's in here. Clutch is here. Jonathan Taylor's here. What's up, Jonathan? Good to see you. We got Polo Styles, Logan Murillo, Cassie's in here, Gerald P. Oh, man.
Yeah, I feel like, honestly, we got enough.
Sounds good. You know what's something I just noticed in that buy, sell, or hold segment, Joey?
What'd you notice?
I'm only selling stock in one player.
That's not a surprise.
It's
not a surprise who you're selling.
But that's a good thing, right?
That is a good thing.
Because I'm holding stock at the very least because it's one game.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And this is a new regime with new schemes. It's going to take a little bit of time to get it implemented and get it working right, especially when you have a rookie quarterback. I've been saying it all offseason. I'm not expecting this team to make the playoffs this year. I'm not expecting this team to be the Houston Texans from last year. I'm expecting this team to set a foundation for what I hope is a stretch of seasons that like the Baltimore Ravens have gone on, the Kansas City Chiefs have gone on, right? It sounds like the Houston Texans are going to go on, right? Where you're consistently competing for division crowns and Super Bowls. And I think that they can get there with this head coach who I believe in and this quarterback that I believe in. But I do think week one was definitely indicative that this is going to take some time.
100%. And that's what I was preaching at the end of the stream, and that's what I was preaching in the post-game cut. It's going to take a while. It's one game. You have a new quarterback who turned 23 like a couple months ago. You have a brand new head coach with brand new coordinators, and I know he's worked with Joe Witt Jr. before, and I know Kliff Kingsbury's been in the NFL for a while, but it's all new. They're all together. It's one game.
It's more about the players getting acclimated to the scheme and the verbiage and the plays than it is about the coaches getting used to the NFL. These guys are experienced. They know what they're doing. It's more about the players gelling together, finding that chemistry within this scheme to trust each other in zone coverage, to do all these things you need to do to have success in this league. It's going to take time to build it up, and very, very rarely do you see those one-year turnarounds from number 2 overall pick to playoffs. Right, it's very rare to see that, and it's okay to do what the Detroit Lions did and build and build and build over a course of a couple seasons, right? It's okay to do that strategy, and look where the Lions are now. They dominated. They didn't dominate on Sunday Night Football, but they looked like they could dominate, right? They've got some awesome players, good players on both sides of the ball. They seem like they're very happy.
Well, and I guarantee you after Dan Quinn's first season, everybody's saying, we need to get this Joker out of there, right?
Second season, too.
Exactly.
He had 7 wins his second season.
Exactly. It took a little bit of time, and that's what you need. You just need to take some deep breaths. You need some patience. It's going to be okay. You think you have the right guys in the building, and you got to give them time to get the team where you want it to go.
Oh, by the way, does it sound – am I reading this right? Jasmine Gray, was it her birthday on Sunday, or was it –
It was her birthday, I believe, last week.
Oh, that's right.
Live.
Yeah, Jasmine.
Yes.
Happy birthday. Happy late birthday. Absolutely. Appreciate you, Jasmine, for supporting the show. So let's get into our final segment here. I think we have enough questions to fill up this mailbag, Joey. So let's get into it right now. The Commanders Report mailbag is coming at you guys right now. Welcome into the Commanders Report mailbag. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and today we got a bunch of great Commanders questions, and I love these types of segments, man, because I get to have that two-way conversation directly from you guys, asking me questions about the burgundy and gold, and instead of me guessing what you guys want to hear about on today's video, I get to answer those questions directly, and I get to talk about what you guys want me to talk about, all right? So before we get into it here, make sure you click that subscribe button because we do these mailbags every single week on the Commanders Report live show on Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We got a bunch of great Commanders fans that tune in every single week. It's a fantastic community of Commanders fans that gets together every single week to talk Commanders football with each other from around the world. So if you want to join that, you want to join the most interactive Commanders fan community right here on the YouTube platform, this is going to be the place for you. Click that subscribe button right now and join us every week on Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then we got one from Merle Garrett. What's up, Merle? It says, would Titans trade Treylon Burks to the Commanders? I think that they would, but do the Commanders want another receiver is the question. I think that they feel very good about Noah Brown when he gets back. Now, if Noah really starts stinking it up, would they trade maybe a 7th-round pick for Treylon Burks? Maybe. But, Treylon has his own issues too, Merle. He doesn't separate against man coverage all that well. He's not the best route runner. What he does well is he's got strong hands at the catch point, so he can make some really tough catches. And if he gets a head of steam going, like on a crossing route, he can really become a difficult weapon to bring down because he's big. And if you give him a little bit of a landing zone, like he can really get going with the long speed too. So he's an interesting character. Not sure about his fit in this offense, if I'm being completely honest with you, Merle. But I do think he's very gettable. He's pretty far down the Titans wide receiver depth chart at this point. Going from RTS with Oscar Montiel. Hope I'm saying that right, Oscar. Says trade Derek Forrest. For the right price, I'd consider it just because it is Quan Martin and it is Jeremy Chin in there for the most part. Now, they are playing Jeremy as kind of like a linebacker hybrid on like obvious passing downs, and they bring Derek in for that. So maybe they really like that 3 safety package and they don't want to give that up. But if someone offered me a day 2 pick for Derek Forrest, I'm not going to say no. Even a 4th-round pick, I'd probably have to consider it, especially if it's at the trade deadline and this team is selling, which definitely seems like a possibility at this point. Then we got one from James Joder. This is unbelievable. I said, I've heard the Saints would consider trading Marshawn Lattimore for the right price. Would you trade a day 2 pick for him? Day 2, so that'd be a 3rd-round pick. Definitely interesting. I would consider it just because the Commanders need cornerback help, right? But the thing with getting a guy like Lattimore is that he is getting a little bit older. You are going to probably have to give up a day 2 pick to get him, and you're going to have to give him a new contract. Now, on the other hand, he is a perfect fit for this Commanders defense, all right? He could be the number 1 corner in this scheme right away. He's a true number 1 press man corner on the outside. He always has been ever since he went out of Ohio State. So I like him as a player, but there's definitely some risks involved in that. If the Commanders are kind of looking more long-term instead of short-term, I'm not sure if this is something that they'd be interested in. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Would you accept this trade for Marshawn Lattimore? Give up a 3rd-round pick in 2025. Remember, the Commanders have 2 of them right now because of the Jahan Dotson trade. So give me an A or a D for accept or decline. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. All right, then we got one from Jeremy Dobbins here. He says, I heard Adam Peters was hot after game 1. What could that mean about Jonathan Allen? Could he be traded during this season or the offseason? So honestly, I could see Jonathan Allen, just be fed up, right? Because, he has been here for a long time. And pretty much his entire tenure, this team has stunk. Okay, this team has been, at best, like a 500 football team. And he's tired of it. He wants to compete. He wants to use his prime of his career to help a team try to win a championship, and a team that has a legitimate chance at a championship. And if this team is continuously stacking loss after loss like they were last year, and after that week 1 performance, that's certainly possible. I could see Jonathan Taylor just be like, I'm done. Trade me elsewhere. Trade me to a title contender. So I could certainly see Jonathan Allen get traded this year, especially with Johnny Newton coming in here. He's a rookie. He's still kind of dealing with an injury, but he's going to be back eventually. And, by the trade deadline, he's going to be healthy and ready to go. So could they trade Jonathan Allen? Honestly, if there's one Commanders player I could see get traded before the deadline, it's probably Allen at this point. Let me go on from Bring the Boom. Says, what are the chances you think Kliff Kingsbury is a fraud? Now, I think that there's a chance that he's a fraud. I haven't been too impressed with him in his time with the Arizona Cardinals, for example. But I'm willing to give him a shot. All right, I'm not going to fully condemn him or praise him until we get to at least a quarter way through the season, because I want to see what kind of wrinkles he puts in with the QB run game. I want to see what he does in the screen game. I want to see if Jayden Daniels can get more comfortable in this drop back passing game. So I'm not ready to just condemn the coach right away after just one game. But, he does have a history of not making adjustments, doing worse in the second halves of seasons than in the first half, all these different things, being very bland, not utilizing pre-snap motion. So I guess we'll see how things look. But there's definitely a possibility by year's end I'm calling for the firing of Kliff Kingsbury. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. Is Kliff Kingsbury a good offensive play caller? Answer that question for me by giving me a yes or a no down there in the comments section. To me, right now, I don't know the answer to that question particularly. If I have to answer it based on his prior experience, I would probably have to say no. Now, before we get into the rest of today's questions on the Washington Commanders, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Game Time, which is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. And folks, we all know that experiencing a sporting event, especially a football game, live and in person, whether it's college or pro, is unlike anything you can get from watching the game on your couch. And Game Time has a brand new feature on their app called Game Time Picks, and it's awesome because it filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And really, guys, what I'm looking at here when it comes to the Game Time Picks, it's awesome and it's perfect for me because I'm somebody that doesn't like to waste time buying tickets. I don't like going on my phone and checking a bunch of ticketing apps and all this different stuff. With Game Time, I just go into the app, I find the event I want to go to, I select the Game Time Picks filter, and it automatically does the research for me. They put every ticket they have on that particular event through a special algorithm to show me an awesome list of the best deals that they have on their app platform currently, and I can pick the best seat for me. It's absolutely phenomenal. You guys can get it done right now and start using Game Time Picks right now when you download the Game Time app today. Some other features that I love on the Game Time app is that you get the lowest price guarantee on any ticket to any event. All-in pricing so you don't get slapped with crazy fees at checkout, and then flash deals so you can get even cheaper tickets the closer you wait to game time. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, it's just for your first purchase. Create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS. One word, all caps, CHATSPORTS, right down there in the bottom right of your screen for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Got one coming in from Eugene. My man says, how do you think the Commanders' pass rush will fare against the Giants' offensive line, particularly Daniel Jones? So I've been saying here throughout the week, I put it on our preview this week if you want to check that video out, that I think that the Commanders should blitz and they should make sure Daniel Jones can't beat them with his legs. That's honestly the best thing about him, is that he's a plus runner. He's not particularly good throwing the ball down the field. He's super, super conservative, likes to take the underneath routes. So if you're the Commanders, you're playing press, you're playing hard flats, you're taking away the underneath routes, and you're forcing Daniel Jones to beat you down the field. When it comes to the pass rush, the offensive line for the Giants stinks outside of Andrew Thomas, their left tackle. So I definitely think this is an offensive line that can be taken advantage of, and especially with all the games and twists and all these stunts that the Commanders like to do on the defensive line, I think Daniel Jones is going to be confused a lot in this football game, and the Commanders are going to get home and sack him at least 3 times. Make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. If you want to win this Week 2 matchup versus the New York Giants, I know I do. Feels like a must-win game, as crazy as it sounds for a Week 2 matchup, but if you don't win this one, you might be talking about doing a mock draft on this channel next week, if I'm being honest with you. So make sure you click that thumbs up icon if you want to save the season in Week 2 by getting the dub over the Giants. Then got one from JG, says, way too early draft question. Is Damani Jackson worth a mid-round gamble? So Jackson is an interesting one there. JG. I'm not too sure if he's going to be a mid-round guy. Honestly, he's probably going to be like a day 3 guy, in my opinion. Haven't watched a ton of film on Damani Jackson, but just based on things that I've seen watching college football on Saturdays, is that I'm just not really sure if he's going to be worth that gamble of a mid-round pick. So we'll see. I'll get you a final answer when I'm actually able to get down to film and watching the film on all of these prospects heading into this year's draft. But for right now, my tentative answer is probably not. Then we got one from Clutch, says, how many yards do you think JD5 will have this Sunday? Rushing, I'll say like 85 yards. I think he's going to have a couple nice runs. And then passing 220. Is that too much? Maybe 180? Maybe 200? I mean, I don't know, man. It's going to be an interesting game for sure. It's going to be last week, it was a lot of running for JD. So I'm hoping he's going to try to win more from the pocket. I'm really interested to see what they're going to do with him because I know Dan Quinn said in his press conference that they're really making it a focus point for Jayden to not run as much this week. So I'm wondering how that's going to look on Sunday, and I'm wondering how many big plays I can conjure up versus the Giants this week. Then we got on from Westside 44. Says, I thought Mike Sainristil was pretty bad in week 1. Do you think he'll get better as the season goes on? And if so, how quickly? So Sainristil had some really bad coverage busts, gave up some really ugly-looking touchdowns, and he needs to get better. And the coaching staff needs to do a better job at making sure these guys in the secondary know their jobs, especially if they're going to play man-match coverage, right? Because if you have a blown assignment there in man-match coverage, it's a wide-open receiver. And Baker Mayfield was taking advantage of that all day long. Sainristil needs to know the rules. He needs to know what his responsibilities are. But I think once he has that down and he feels comfortable in that, which I think is probably in a couple weeks, if not this week, as early as this week, I think Sainristil is going to be one of the best slot corners in football. He's just so instinctive, good tackler, good blitzer. He has a nose for the football, good ball skills. Really think Sainristil is going to be a mainstay in this defense for a long time, and I can't wait to see him blossom into the player I believe he's capable of becoming. So let me know down there in the comments section, what's your confidence level in Mikey Sainristil? Give me an answer down there in the comments section with a number between 1, meaning not confident at all, to 10, meaning supreme confidence in Mike Sainristil. That'll be it for this week's mailbag, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you that's watching live here that submitted questions. If you guys didn't submit questions this week, or if you're watching this in video form later in the week, I appreciate you guys watching the video today. Click that subscribe button so you can join us every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern time, to get your questions on the next edition of the Commander's Report Mailbag. All right, Joey, that's going to be it for our show today, my friend. We got 100 people still watching in this chat room right now. That's awesome. Absolutely phenomenal. Listen, man, I'll say this right now. If we can get to 100 likes, I'll let Joey slap me in the face with a tortilla.
Uh-oh.
All right? Can we get to 100 likes? If we can get to triple digits in likes today, I'll let Joey slap me in the face with a tortilla. All right, so right now we're 15 likes away. We got 90 people watching. So if we can get that number up to 100 likes, we'll do a slap before we say goodbye today.
We have to.
Cassie, my girlfriend's in the chat. She knows the real ones hit the thumbs up icon because it helps out our show. So if we can get 11 more likes here, if we can get 10 more likes here, I will get slapped with a tortilla. You guys have 2 minutes to make it happen.
Let me get the countdown box on.
All right, we got actually make it a minute. We got 1 minute to get to 100. Now we're 7 likes away. If you haven't clicked that thumbs up icon and you want to see me get slapped, click it right now. We need 6 more likes to get it done. Still at 6 more likes. All right, countdown is on. 4 more likes now. We got 85 people watching worldwide. We need 4 more likes. Now 3 more likes. We got 45 seconds.
JG says, unfortunately, I can only do 1 like. I feel that, JG.
JG, I appreciate you, man. That's all we ask of you. Now somebody unliked the video. Oh, no.
Down to 4. Oh,
30 more likes. Come on now. Hey, I just saw it 100 likes.
There we go. I'll go get it.
All right, Joey's going to get the tortilla. I'll get slapped. All right. You know, I felt like I was getting slapped on Sunday watching that football game, Joey. So, you know, I might as well get slapped here on the show. So Joey's going to go get that real quick. I'll be hanging out with you guys here while he go gets it, and he's going to slap me. And then we'll say goodbye for the day. But you know what, man? I've had fun today with you guys. Shout out to Lola Dex Dick. We got JJ. We got JG. We got Jeremy Dobbins. We got Eugene. We got Jasmine, who had her birthday like 3 weeks ago. Gave her some happy birthday cheers. Got Cassie in the chat. Got Logan Murillo, Eugene, Richard Barker, John Stuyef. 100 likes. Got producer Coop, a big Cowboys fan in here, asking why Joey's going to slap me. None of your business. Why did I was about to say something I cannot say. Oh, my goodness. All right, Joey's got the tortilla. We're at 106. Jasmine, good to see you. Got Lawrence. Got John. Got the Dark Gemini. And at this point, I'm stalling. So let's get to the slap and let's get it over with.
All right.
3, 2, 1. Oh! Oh. You know, Joey is actually the only guy here at Chat Sports that can stand next to me on camera and not look like he's my child.
That is true.
So I'm 6'5". Joey, how tall are you? You're like 6'4"?
I'm 6'3".
6'3"?
Yeah.
So it's been fun today, guys. Thank you for getting us to 100 likes today. We'll see you guys later, man. I appreciate all of your support. We will be live again next week, Wednesday, for the next edition of Commanders Report Live. Don't miss it. And I appreciate you guys. Until next time, raise some hail.